Welcome, everybody, to a Friday night at Woodbine Mohawk Park. And yes, nobody wants to play with Randy. I'm here all by my lonesome tonight. But every once in a while, it's kind of nice to hear your own thoughts out there. I don't know about you guys last night, the ones that tuned into the show, but boy, oh boy, was I ever having a good time last night listening to Nikki Boyd and John Rawlis talk handicap. And boy, they're a pair of sharp puppies, those two. And Nikki started it off real good there. If anybody was playing with him, he started off 3 winners, first 3 races in that opening pick 5 segment. But unfortunately, he got nailed in leg number 4 by a long shot. And I think he came back in race number 5 with his own long shot and got the done there. So I'm pretty sure he was 4 for 5 on winners in that opening segment last night. Great job, Ralphie, and great job too with John Rawlis hosting last night. John down in the Meadowlands tonight. We got a lot of our crew down at the Meadowlands tonight and getting ready for that big weekend that's on its way. The Hambo weekend only comes around once a year. I was lucky to drive in the Hambletonian final twice, I think it was. The once I was second with a horse named Whiskey Tax, and the other time I don't think I got any money, and I can't remember the name of the horse. That's what happens when you don't make any money in the stake final. You can't remember the name of the horse you drove. So, but still, big weekend coming up, and there is a Waples that has been in the Hambletonian winner circle before. It just doesn't happen to be this one, that's all. But I do hear that he is going to be back down at the Meadowlands, my father, celebrating the 100th Hambletonian. So have a good time down there, father. So let's move on with this show. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is the track chasers, closers, and pace setters. This is an interesting concept we got here. We started it off where we were just doing head of the lane. Where's the winner sitting at the head of the lane? And now we've kind of moved it a little bit back to 3/4 to the half, but we're still getting a lot of the, have to be up close. I mean, the furthest back here is a 4th. Once in a while, you'll see the odd 5 or 6, but big track like this, there should be flow. There should be movement from back there. So, I'm kind of hoping at some point there we start to see a little bit bigger numbers from the half on. It'd be nice to see a few horses, being able to get into the winner circle, maybe getting away on a 3rd over trip or a 2nd over trip instead of, seems like a lot of the times they got to be sitting 1, 2, 3 at the head of the lane. So hopefully that changed, but that seems to be the way it's going. And a lot of that too is it's not as much the fact that the racing is that way. It's more to do with the fact that they got this track so incredibly fast right now. It's just hard to make up that ground, because even if a horse goes to the front and gets tired, gets to the half in 53 or 54 and should be big tired on the end of it, because the track is so fast, seems like he's still able to come home in 27 and 4:28, and it's hard for those horses to make up that ground if the ones up top get away from them. So interesting statistic there, but hopefully we see a little bit of a change down the road. And Grand Circuit time's coming up soon, stake races and that, so hopefully that'll change too. We're dealing with a lot of unraced 2-year-olds right now, so again, you're not going to make multiple moves with a young horse. So hopefully this changes. So let's move on though. Let's get into this Friday 10-pack of racing, and we're going to start this off in race number 1. This is going to be the start of our guaranteed pick 5, 75,000. Guaranteed pick 5 in this race. We're going to start it off on the trot, and we got a field of 8 in this race. The way I'm going to go is the horse that's your favorite right now, Caballero. I got a feeling he's going to be a lot of people's favorite. In fact, I'm going to single him in my opening pick 5. He is going to be a single in here. I thought everything was going absolutely according to plan until, he comes into the last turn. Now, it shows he makes a break. He's 3 wide when he does it. Now, I'm not 100% sure what happened there, but I got a feeling maybe he just kind of got jammed up and maybe ticked the wheel in front of him, because I don't think he wanted to run, and Travis was doing nothing wrong, so maybe he just got a little bit too close. He reached out and maybe got a little bit close to a wheel, made a break, And then, he's going to come back trotting again and make a big effort. So let's take a look at Caballero setting up here, second over for Travis Henry. And like I said, I think he was sitting in a real good spot. He moves him from fourth here, just past the half. But again, look at the body language on Travis. I mean, he's just sitting on this guy. And you see what I mean? He's a big, long, striding horse up in front. In behind, it seems like he just kind of takes small steps. But up in front, he really throws them forward. Now, Brady gets a little close here, and he's going to end up making a break. So again, I don't know if he just got too close and ended up making this little jump here, or if he happened to touch a wheel. But either way, he's going to make the smallest of a mistake in here, right there. I guess it couldn't have been a wheel. He was nowhere was even close to him. Like I said, I thought Travis did a good job with him, and he lands him real fast here too. Boom, back trotting again, and he's going to take another swoosh at them here. And look at the legs he's got on the end of it on the trot. He's not going to be able to reach here, but boy, oh boy, he's got some serious ability on the end. This is a 4-year-old tactical landing out of an SJ's photo mare coming from the Rick Zeron barn. So, when it comes to Rick and trotters, they don't make breaks too often. This guy's been making a lot of them, but back earlier in the year, he's had a long, bit of a time off, couple of months off. Now he's come back to racing here. A couple of other reference points, too, that you might want to take a serious look at Caballero, too, is even in that last qualifier, take a look at the company he was keeping that day. He finishes second in there to Safe Conduct, real top quality older horse from the Christoforou camp. And in there for third, Emoticon Legacy. Yeah, you might even get to hear Emoticon Legacy's name quite a bit tomorrow, because he is in the final of the Hambletonian. He is our Canadian hopeful, Emoticon Legacy. So this guy qualified, finished second in that qualifier, and was split, what I would say, two very nice horses. Comes back, makes that unfortunate break when he was coming 3 wide, and hopefully able to last it out here tonight. So Caballero's the way that I'm going to go in the start this sequence off. And again, he is going to be a single in my opening pick 5. So let's move on to race number 2. And here we have 2-year-old colts and geldings on the pace, non-winners of 1 or 8,100 lifetime. You can see right now the 8-horse Lions First Bulldog taking the majority of your support for Travis Cullen and Tony Beaton. I'm going to put him in for second, because there's another horse that's in here that I really liked that first start, and that's going to be the 7-horse. Looks like Plaucha and Gislan are both going to go to the 7. Garnett's going to go with Lions First Bulldog. And I can see that. He's paced some fast miles. His second last start was 51, last start in 52. But let's take a look at the replay on Who Let the Dogs Out for Bobby McClure and John Pentland in this last race. And what I'd like to tell you, too, about this race, too, is if you'll notice as Who Let the Dogs Out is crossing the wire, the plugs are still in. Bobby has got more in the tank, and boy, oh boy, does this guy ever come up with a big effort. So here he is setting up 4 deep around the last turn. And, this is one of those situations where, the eventual winner isn't sitting first, second, third, or fourth at the half. He's sitting quite a ways back, but look at the wheels that Who Let the Dogs Out when he starts to bark right here. And look at the body language on Bobby as well. McClure just out for a ride in Central Park, or as Dougie would like to say, a Sunday ride with his grandfather. Thanks, Doug. But anyway, Who Let the Dogs Out? Going to be my top play in this race number 2. I'm also going to single this guy in my opening pick 5 too. Absolutely loved him, and like I said, even with that big move, the plugs were still in, and the fact that he gets to come right back into that same kind of a class. Last race July the 25th, right back into go August the 1st. I'd say that this guy's got all the signs pointing at the big race. So that's the way I'm going to go in race number 2. Going to back him up with Lions First Bulldog from the 8-hole. And Major Money from the Gallucci camp got him as well down in for third. But we'll talk a little bit more about race number 2 a little bit later on. Let's move on to race number 3. Real nice group here. This is going to start off our 20-cent pick 4 in race number 3. Back on the pace. Fillies and mares, non-winners of 15. This is a likable little class, and I would say even to the point of being a very tough kind of a class. In my opening pick 5, I'm using multiple numbers. This is a 7-horse race, and I'm using 5 numbers in this race. In my pick 5 numbers. I'm going to use the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in this opening leg of the pick 5. So let's take a look at Sorcia Sealster, because that is the way that I'm going to go. I've been waiting to, take another shot at her. I think that Bobby has got her sitting on a really, really big effort. I mean, look at this one. A lot of people are going to be looking at some of the other speed shows that's going on, but look at Sorcia Sealster. Her last 4 starts, 3 times she's paced better than 150. All 49 and 4, but 3 times better than 50. I say that she is on her game. She went through a little bit of a lull when she first came back. I love the job McClure's done with her. He's never hurt her. He's letting her get better on her own, and I think that she is getting better on her own here tonight. Now, he's going to go with Perfectly Chic in this race, but he's also a part owner of Perfectly Chic, so I'm not 100% sure if it's all about just, who do you think's got the bigger engine. And Sorcia hitting the wire right there, made a big grounds on the end of it, finishes 3rd, only beat 1 length, and paces a back half in 53 and change into that 49 and 4. Now, the reason why I find that it's so interesting that she's had 3 efforts in her last 4 starts where she's paced them all in 49 and 4, her lifetime mark is 50 and 4. So she's actually paced 3 times in her last 4 starts, 1 full second better than her lifetime mark. That's what I mean. I think she's on a big, ready to, make a big move in here, and she's going to pick up James McDonald. I mean, that's not a bad thing either. I think Bob does an incredible job with Sorcia Sealster, but so does James. And this is a different set of eyes, and maybe James is going to be looking at it more as along the lines of not as a protection mode as much as maybe Bobby was looking at it. So Sorcia Sealster, the way I'm going to go, I'm going to back her up with Tells on a Roll. And in the spotlight, boy, I'll talk about a horse that's the it horse right now. She's racing amazingly well. 7-year-old Better's Delight mare for Dave Maneri and J.R. Plant. She's been 1st or 2nd in her last 2 starts and racing really, really well. But the one that I think is the most dangerous is going to be the 4-horse in here. One Last Wish, picking up McNair tonight. She's a dangerous kind of a horse. When Ken Susie has her on her game and she can get to the front and not have to pay any big dividends to do it, my goodness, she is a tough horse to haul back down again. I'm just hoping that James is able to stay close to her with Sorcia Sealster if that's the way that they elect her. So my numbers in race number 3, that opening pick 4 leg, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's move on to race number 4. What I would consider to be a pretty substantial scratch in this race, and that's going to be the 3-horse Make 'em Blush Hanover. I was actually going to put her up on top in this race, and in my opening pick 5, at one time I was looking to single her. I like the fact that Blay raced her twice, in front in her qualifiers. I think that she could have come up with a big effort tonight. Not really sure why she scratched tonight, but she is scratched. So that's going to move me on to my second pick, and that's going to be the 5-horse. Gislan going with the 5 in for 2nd, and so is Garnet. And that's going to be same thing, only different. Sunshine Beach filly here. She's getting a bridle change tonight. Jimmy Wellwood sending in. She was wearing a blind. She's going to be wearing a cancy back bridle tonight. Very close. She had a huge win in the qualifier over at Grand River, win by 10 there. And then she comes out multiple moves in her very first grassroots leg and finishes 2nd, just gets beat in there for Todd Ratchford. Comes back with what I would consider to be a somewhat locked-in journey in her last. Finishes 4th in there, only beaten 4.5 in last quarter and 27 flat. So I think Jimmy's in a good spot here with this filly. The one that I would consider to be the most dangerous now would be the 6-horse On Fleek. This is coming out of the Caroline Nielsen camp, but you can see Nick Gallucci, part owner of this one. This one, they've just raced it twice, grassroots both times, but improvement in both as well. Middle of the gate, James McDonald on this one as well. So I'm just kind of hoping that Todd's able to stay a little bit close to On Fleek if this one comes out of there. And if not, chop it out. The last time you chopped, you win by 10. So take it to them, and hopefully same thing, only different, can come up with a big effort. Plus, like I said, that is the opening of our pick 6, and the carryover for our pick 6 is going to be 7,600 plus tonight. So that's another multi-leg that you may want to take a real close look at $7,600 plus of seed money into that opening or into that pick 6 starting in race number 4. Let's move on to race number 5. And here, this interesting little situation I find here. Now, Trevor Henry, picking up what I would say Lady Tara. Now, here's one that he's been driving her last 4 starts. Now, to me, Trevor could have went a different way in this race. I think that he could have just as easily been back on setting a precedent. Now, to me, some people are going to say setting a precedent was locked in that last journey. I'll agree that maybe she was locked in, but I would say a loose locked in. I don't think that she was running over horses on the end of it. I think she raced good. I think she could come back with another decent race in here tonight, but I wouldn't exactly put her in as locked in, running over horses. We're going to see enough of that a little bit later on tonight with a couple of the other replays that I'm showing you here. But he could have went back to setting a precedent, and he has been driving her quite a bit in her last 5. But he's going to go with Lady Tara. And look at the last line on her. She had the 6 hole, just stayed down on the inside. But on the end result, only beaten 2.5 lengths in that race and coming big back half in 53 and 4. 2 weeks in a row, she's come a mile in 50 flat, last quarters in 27 flat. Again, to me, a horse that is sitting on a big effort, and this is the way that Trevor elects to go. So this is the way that I'm going to go as well. So Lady Tara with this big drop down, she's been doing this in non-winners of 15,000, and she's going to take on non-winners of 9,000 tonight. So I really do think that she looks good in here. But there's another one in here that's sneaky good if you happen to be looking for maybe one if Lady Tara or a couple of these other horses are taking too much support. I think that you could do a little bit of good on the 5 horse in here. So let's take a look at her last replay. This is 'Cause I'm Special. Not really sure. Yeah, she's going to be with Jody. Yeah, down on the inside with Jody. Had the 7 hole. You can see, down on the inside. Yeah, we're going to do this one over again, looks like. Or is that the right race there? There we go. Okay, so Jody on the outside with 'Cause I'm Special. Hasn't been drawn the best. Her last 4 starts, she's never been inside the 7 hole. Now she does tonight. She's got the 5 hole to work with. I call her sneaky good on the end of it. Jody's still drafting at this point. It looks like she's, maybe losing ground and there's not much, but now he starts her forward and she's going to start to come forward here. And this is what I mean. I call this kind of sneaky good. If you really were looking at her, you maybe wouldn't pick up on that. So I'm going to throw her in for second. Lady Tara, where I'm going to go. But like I said, 'Cause I'm Special coming in here. And that race too, she hadn't raced in 2 weeks. So I think that she's also sitting on a big effort in here tonight. But Lady Tara, I think that she can handle anybody in this field if she's on her game. And I'm hoping that that's why Trevor's going her route. So Lady Tara is the way I'm going to close off that opening pick 5 sequence. And let's move on to race number 6. And in this race, we got the Dreammaker. 2-year-old open pace, leg number 2. Nice field of horses in this one. Lots of different ways to go in this route. I mean, Dad is going to take a lot of looks right now. 5-2, Louis Waugh and Dr. Ian Moore. This guy is, when he's been good, he's been sensational, and when he hasn't been good, he's just been good. I would say last week, good, but look at the fractions that he had to go. Made a big remove. Off a quarter and 26 into a 54 half, gets control, but, here comes the cavalry, and he just wasn't able to hold them off, but still a nice third in there. I think that there can be improvement in here in this short field. But I'm going to go with the 6 horse in here, Stingray Deo, on this guy. Garnet going to go this guy as well. A lot of other cappers looking at that. I think everything was going swimmingly for Stingray Deo in this last start, but he's going to take a little bit of a bump here, a little bit of an interference break, and he's going to make just the smallest little break, little boom, right there. He takes a little bit of a check from the inside, and now he's on a break. I think he was setting up perfectly for another victory. He was a winner the week before for McClure, 80 or 60-cent favorite that night. Never pulled the plugs that night, and I think he was setting himself up for another big effort in here tonight. So Stingray Deo is the way that I'm going to go in this race. race. Like I said, before the break, I thought everything was great. And the week before that, everything was great. And like I said, last quarter in 26, and the plugs were in. McClure just hanging on to this guy. So I think you should really give this guy, another maybe look and not just settle on the horse on the inside. We're also going to get a driver change on the 7 horse in here, Corona Sealster. Looks like maybe Billy Davis isn't going to be with us tonight. So let's move on to race number 7. Race number 7 is going to be the opening leg of our late pick 4. And this is a horse that I would say locked in with lots of go, the way I'm going to go in here. So right now, it looks like Could Be Queen. A lot of people looking at this daughter of Cattle Wash coming out of the Gallucci camp. Big wheels in both of her last. Picks up James again tonight. Lot to like about her. But you can see right now, everybody going to the 6 but myself. I'm going to try to beat the 6, and that's going to be the 5 horse, Red Beach 1. Hasn't done a whole lot, but hear me out on this, okay? So her first qualifier, she finishes second to Daya, and we both know what Daya is doing for the Darling camp right now. She is racing an incredible. Then she hooks on to Be Perfect BG, who was insanely good her first start, lifetime start, and this one finished 4th in there. Next start, she picks on to a filly called Chicanery, also racing incredibly well. Talbot Kristen in there. Cackleberry, recent winner as well. So really been hooking some toughies, this Red Beach 1. Now let's look at last week, this last replay from last week, and I think that she was good to go. So Jody, with the 4-hole, elects to kind of take her back. He has been leaving with her, but this race he elected to kind of just move her to the back. I think that he thought at some point he was going to be able to find that flow. Guess what? It doesn't happen. So here's Jody right now. He's 3rd down on the inside, and this is about as much room as what Double J is going to see in this race. And I mean, you can just see the head's going back and forth. The body language, shows shoulders back. I need room. And guess what? There's not going to be no room. And it's going to get even worse because the one that you're following is even going to start backing up a little bit. And again, no room. But he finally finds a little bit of room. And does she do anything with it? Yes, she does. She wants to go right on through. So Red Beach 1 wasn't able to get the job done in that last race. I think CJ Desby's going to be kind of tough in here. I got her in for 3rd. Could Be Queen, the one that's taken the majority of your support right now. She's going to be tough in here. Got her in for 2nd. Sangria Summer. Kevin Ben, Captain Treacherous filly here, only had the couple of qualifiers to work with, but both of them, I think that they're decent ones, and I'm going to throw her in on the bottom. But Red Beach 1, locked in Journey in his last for Double J, middle of the gate to work with in here tonight. I'm going to go Red Beach 1. In fact, I think too in my second sequence. No, actually, I didn't single him, but I did single that horse in my pick 6. So anyway, let's move on to a race number 8. Look at us go. In here we're going to go first-time starter in here, and that's going to be Dime Better for Maneri and McDonald combination. Like the way that this one qualified the first time at Grand River. And check out who went with it. Dave Maneri, trainer, went with this one. Easy winner in that one. Then comes back. We're going to look at this replay in a bit, but just before, Barracuda Hanover, right now 5-2 morning line coming out of the Darling camp. A lot to like about this guy. July the 8th was a grassrooter here. Finished 7th, but check out how much he got beat. He only got beat 2.5 lengths there with the last quarter in 26-2. And that was in against Twin B John B. And this is a pretty nice horse. DA Let's Dance speaks softly to me in that group as well. So I really think that Barracuda Hanover raced very, very well. And then heads to Grand River, what I would consider probably just a tightener. Jack needed a race into him. Like I said, he went there on a bit of a 2-week rotation, looking to get that start into him. But it was a really, really good one. Travis Cullen drove him, went down the road, was an easy winner. So I think Tyler's, coming back to a horse that looks pretty good in here as well. But let's check out the replay on Dime Better, this last replay on him. So the first qualifier goes to Grand River, wins there in 59 with Dave Maneri in the bike. Nice 2-hole trip that Dave gives him. Now he comes back, and here, let's take a look at this guy here. James sitting 3rd with this guy. Now, this is a better Bettor's Delight colt out of an Art Major mare. He was a Harrisburg purchase, 20,000. Look at James here sitting with this guy. And, he can go to the outside, he can go to the inside, but he's going to glue right to Louis' helmet. And look at the body language on James. To me, this is a well-hidden horse, and I like the way that he does his work in the mornings. He never overdoes it, brings you back a good, strong horse that's full of confidence and ready to go. A horse can drop 5 seconds like that. If they can qualify in 59, they can go in 54 without even blinking an eye. It just really is. So there's really not much need to go crazy fractions unless there's a reason for it. You got a big race coming up. You've missed 3 weeks or something. You know that you're going to have to pace a mile in 50 or 49. Yeah, you better get out there and go a pretty big mile and get them, freshened up. But for the most part, especially 2-year-olds and that, trust me, they will learn speed on their own. It's one thing you don't have to teach them. The good ones learn it. The bad ones, they're never going to learn it. Here we go. We're moving on to a race, number 9, Fillies and Mares Preferred, which would probably be what I would consider to be the feature race of the night, race number 9 in here. Down to a field of 6 in this race, and boy, there's one big story right now, and her name is Caviar and Crackers. I thought Glenborough was extremely good in her last. I'm going to give her a very good locked in, the 2-hole. Blew me a kiss. Unbelievable how good this girl's racing right now for Nikki Boyd. Maybe we should have asked him about her last night, but boy, oh boy, look at the last quarter she threw down in her last. 26 flat for a mile 49. You want to talk about Ralphie having one on her game right now? Blew me a kiss, but she has missed a little bit of time. I'm going to elect to throw her down in on the bottom, and this is a good bunch that she has to race against, more or less the same bunch that she had to race against on July the 11th, but again, missed a little time in between. So I'm going to go back to Caviar and Crackers. Let's take a look at this replay while we talk this race out, and this replay is going to show every horse in this race except for the one horse, Blew Me a Kiss, who, like I said, missed a little bit of time, but everybody else in here is covered. And right now, just Caviar and Crackers, first over effort. Grit and Grace was third or start before this, but she missed a little bit of time, 2 weeks in between. Every once in a while, you'll see Stretch will miss a week with her. Great management by him. And when she comes back after a week off, she's usually good to go. So I thought that she'd be a little tougher in here tonight, but there's just no answers for Caviar and Crackers, and there certainly isn't any answers for her in short fields where she's always been able to stay in touch. So Glenborough, I say locked in. Grit and Grace, I got her in for third. I thought it was a good effort for her. She should be a little bit better, I think, in here tonight. Blew Me a Kiss, missing some time, but with the way that she's racing now, I got her in on the bottom. And like I said, Glenborough in for second. But Caviar and Crackers, right now, I don't think that the Hensleys have to worry too much about Crackers. It's just Caviar with this one right now. So let's move on to race number 10. And here we go, our jackpot high five, and that number is really starting to climb up. You guys, 184,000 plus in carryover in that jackpot high five. So, should be an interesting little play in here tonight. And I'm also going to send a ticket in as well. Nice bunch in here, 5-year-olds and younger, non-winners of 3 races. And I'm going to go to the 5 horse in here, Sugar Pie Honey. Right now it looks like Millie May Hanover is the one taking the majority of your support opening morning line. But she's coming out of the gold, been racing very, very good too. Hasn't quite yet been able to get the job done in the gold, but guess who she's racing against? Some horse named Chantilly, and she can't get the job done on her just yet. So I'm going to throw Millie May Hanover in for second. Maybe I'm going a little bit light on her. Really is racing very, very good, but as much as I think that Dougie's going to have to race her tonight. This is not going to be no freebie with the gold where you can just kind of take things easy. I think he's going to have to race her tonight. So we're going to have to see how she, more or less accommodates to that. But Sugar Pie Honey, the way I'm going to go now, I thought that she was real good to go in her last, but she is going to suffer a little bit of interference right down on the end of it there. Dougie McNair driving this one last week for trainer Gallucci. And look at the year that she's having so far this year. 6 starts, 5 times a winner. Last year, 9 starts, 5 times that she hit the board. So she's really come back strong this year. This week was also going to be her first start on Lasix. She'd gone to Clinton for a couple of weeks where she didn't have Lasix. Winner both times. Only raced on the Lasix the one time here and was a winner. Now here she is right here. It looks to me like if she's not going to go by, she's going to get awful close, but it does get a little bit tight down in through here, and there's a little bit of a wheel lock. She loses her momentum and ends up getting beat, a couple of lengths on the end of it. But overall, really, really big effort. Back half, 54-4, and an overall mile of 51-1. So I thought a really, really nice effort by Sugar Pie Honey, and that's the way that I'm going to go in here. Millie May Hanover, going to throw her in for second on this one. Wicked and Single in for third. And, the 8 horse, I think I'd take a real close look at this one. This is Forever After All. She's been on a huge win streak. James picking her week in and week out, but he went against her in her, last start. She just seemed to me like a little bit of a tired horse on the end of it. Now, she had every excuse. She hadn't raced since June the 27th. That was July the 15th. Tough half, 55. She had an excuse to get a little bit tired, but I think she did. And maybe she'll be a little bit better in here tonight, but I did notice that James is going to go to Sugar Pie Honey. So I'm going to take a wait and see approach on Forever After All. Could be a mistake on my part. So here we go. We are off to Mr. Javon. We are going to talk a little pick 6 action in this race. And here's my ticket up on the board right now. So starting off in race number 4, I'm going to go 2 deep in here. Going to use the 5, same thing, only different, and the 6 on fleek. Now, I think I'm going to get way more of a price on the 5 than I am the 6. And I think that they're both more or less equal to talent in here right now. But on the 5 horse, I am getting a bridle change. He's going to go from a blind bridle to a cancy back bridle tonight. So, maybe a little bit more pop on the end of it when he sees some horses. And we do have a scratch of the 3. Make him blush in race number 4. In race number 5, I'm going to go 3 deep. I'm going to be using Dad, Beachside Lindy, middle of the gate for Team Jameson. And that was race number 5. I'm sorry. I'm using Madrid, 'Cause I'm Special for Jameson and McNair. And on the bottom, Lady Terra. I think she could come up with a big one. Now we come with the singles. Race 6, I'm singling Stingray Dale for Travis Henry and Gary Murner. Race number 7, I'm going to single Red Beach 1. Showed you that one. Locked in Journey. Now she's in tough, but if she has as much go as she looked like she had last week, I think that she could knock a few people out of that wager multi-legger. And in race number 8, I'm going to go with Dime Better, first starter for McManary and James McDonald. And in race number 9, I'm going to hit the all button in here. I do like Caviar and Crackers, but I thought Glenborough was good. I thought, it blew me a kiss. If Ralphie has a fast mile into her, she could be good right now as well. Style for a Mile, another interesting one as well, because Dougie's been sticking real close with this one. And if you look, last week she ended up making a break coming out of there, but look at the odds on Style for a Mile in there. I mean, she was at that point, she was $1.30. And I think those odds, as we've seen different times when a horse does make a break, seems like those odds can, maybe pop up and somebody else's odds end up going down. I think that's what happened to her. I think she was like 3 to 5 or some crazy number in them fillies and mares preferred. So I think somebody knew something about Style for a Mile, but I'm going to play against her. I think that some of these other ones are just good, bang on good right now, but you may want to take another look at Style for a Mile in race number 9. So that's how I see the pick 6, ending it with an all in race number 9. Okay, so now let's take another look at our pick 5s as well. Starting off in race number 1, I'm going to go Single City, 2-horse Caballero. I think everything was good until he made that break, so I think he can come right back with a big effort. Race number 2, I'm going to go right with the singles again. Who Let the Dogs Out? I think that this is a freebie. I truly do. I mean, he absolutely destroyed them in this class, and he's coming right back to it. I don't care who's in against him. I mean, this horse was absolutely loaded his last start, so I think he can come back. Race number 3, I find this one a little bit tougher. Like I said, in that in this early pick 5, I got to use a lot of numbers in here. I'm using everybody but the 6 and the 7. I'm using the inside 5 horses, not using Perfectly Chic or Laneside In Control. In race number 4, going to go back to 2 deep in here, scratch of the 3. That leaves me with the 5 and the 6 in here. And race number 5, going to close it out 3 deep in here with Madrid, Cause I'm Special at a price, and Lady Tara, very interesting pick in that race by Trevor Henry. So that is an opening pick 5. Now on my late pick 5, we're going to try this a little bit different in here as well. So we're going to start off with a single as well, and that is going to be the 6-horse Stingray Dale in this one. In race number 7, I'm going to go a lot of different ways in the 6 in the pick 5. In my pick 6, I did choose to single in the 7th race, Red Beach 1, but because I'm not using too many numbers in here, I thought I could maybe afford to go a little bit deeper. So I'm going to go 3, 5, 6, and 7 in race number 7. Race number 8, it's going to be Dime Better, and I'm going to back him up with Elmer Han over race 9, back to the all 6 in race 9. And the biggest reason for that is I like the ones that I got, but I'm a little scared of this Style for a Mile taking all that support. And in race number 10, I'm going to single J-Mac in the last with Sugar Pie Honey. So that's kind of how we see tonight progressing along. I think now we're going to come up to what plays of the night, Javon? Hambo. Let's talk some Hambo. Boy, oh boy, this is the most exciting time of the year. This is, in my opinion, the race, to make a person's career. So best of luck down there to everybody that's involved in the Hambo, and go Canada. So let's take a look at the Oaks in here. Nice group that we have in here. Now my pick in here is going to be the 6-horse Conversano. James McDonald picking this one up, and I know he was really excited to pick this one up. He really thinks that she's got a big shot in there, middle of the gate to work with. So that's going to be my top pick in there as well. Conversano, wouldn't that be lovely to get her at 9-2? Miss Belmar with the rail, McCarthy and Daly taking on that one. But sometimes the rail at the Meadowlands is really not that much of an advantage as it is here. So I'm going to stick with Conversano in the middle of the gate, and Scotty Zeron also in there with Delaney Hanover. Best of luck, Chuck One Dude, the money man. This is his day to shine, it seems. Okay, so let's move on to what's the next one we're going to look at. There it is. There it is, the Hamiltonian 100th edition of the Grade 1 Hamiltonian. Wow, what a race. Super Chapter right now at 5-2. I think we kind of all had an idea that this was all going to play out to who was Dexter going to side with, Maryland or Super Chapter, and he elects to go with Maryland in this race. Yannick Gingras picking himself up a huge live drive with Super Chapter. Lander just loaded in this race, and bringing Bjorn Goop over too to navigate the rail. Interesting race in here. Myself, I go the 3-horse. Emoticon Legacy has done nothing wrong. Anytime that I've picked him, he always seems to come up with a big effort. And I mean, rah Canada, way to go, Luke, way to go, Louis, way to go, Emoticon Legacy, and best of luck, Determination Stable. You deserve it. Cane Pace, we're not going to show you the graphics on that one, but I'm going to go Madden Oaks with that one. Braxton Boyd, and he picking up the rail. One of the first times that this horse is actually Drew Good racing for money. And the other one that we didn't talk about, the John Cashman Memorial, going to come along in race number 11. And I'm going to go Lexus Cody. Now, this is not a horse that I normally pick, but I do think that he has a chance that he could maybe bottom this field out. And that's what I'm looking for, is Yannick driving this guy and just send him down the road on a hot day in New Jersey on Hambo Day. And I'm looking for a new lifetime mark for Lexus Cody and be able to get the job done. And I think we can get him at a very, very good price. So those are my Hambo picks for Saturday. And hopefully, Oh, I also wanted to tell you too there, sometimes, well, like I said, everybody's down in New Jersey right now, so wasn't able to get anybody in to help me tonight, but did need a little bit of help tomorrow. We're going to go a little bit lighter on the replays tomorrow because we're going to do a lot of Hambletonian recap, and I belong to this really cool club, and every once in a while, if you need a little bit of support, you just pick the phone up and call another guy in this club, and that's going to be Chris Christoforou Jr., and that's going to be coming from the Hall of Fame Club. So Chris Christoforou Jr. going to be in town tomorrow night to help me navigate through the Hambletonian card and, a few of our races here as well. Really looking forward to that. So that's how we're going to start this evening off. I think that we've got just about everything looked after except for some plays of the night. And we're going to start off with me, and that's going to look the first 3 races, all plays of the night for myself. Waples Watch, Cavallero, like I said in race 1, I thought everything was groovy till he made that break, and hopefully Rick's got that ironed out. All in, Who Let the Dogs Out in race number 2, plugs in that last win, and again, I thought it took a little bit of an interference in his last start. Beat the favorite, Sorcia Sealster, in race number 3, and worth a look. We showed you the replay in race number 7, Red Beach 1. That was a locked-in journey for that one. So a couple of other plays from our resident handicapper, Ghislaine. Who Let the Dogs Out? I got to go with you on that one, Ghislaine. I like him in here as well. Lions First Dog for Garnet. Like him in here as well. Yeah, I think I got him in for second. Real tough. These guys are going to have to play against each other, but I got to go with Ghislaine. Got to give him the nod on this one. And Doug Henwood from Nahoo Picks going to go with Rock Shadow at 15-1 in race number 10. Love that pick. Wasn't that long ago that I also used Rock Shadow in this race. But Doug, you're going to be looking for a driver. Billy Davis is not in the house tonight. So there you go, our plays of the night. And we got commercials coming up, and then we got the first race going to go out onto the track. So I'll be back with you then. Stick tight, because we got a really interesting Friday night ahead.